What's up, NFL fans? Apologies for my voice in this video. Like I said in my last video, I'm still a little sick. I feel a lot better, and this is one of my videos that's not regularly scheduled about the Jets specifically. But I didn't really want to wait that long because this video is already out of date. But it's something interesting, and I want to talk about it, and I feel good enough to talk, so I'm gonna do it. So what I'm titling this, I guess, is what's going on with quarterbacks in the NFL, and maybe the NFL is stupid. I don't know. Um, yeah, yeah. So let's just jump right into it. I'll explain a little bit more. So two of my older videos, one was I called QB Star Power Drought, and the other one Warning Do Not Tank. So I made videos about quarterbacks and how the NFL is kind of perceiving them wrong a while ago. But now recently there's been a lot of talk about how quarterback play this year is really down, and there's lots of stats that are saying this. Once again, this all this stuff was made after week 2, not after week 3, which week 3 just ended, but at time of recording. But basically 2024 season quarterback play is worse. Um and I think that this is a trend. There are stats. I'm not a stat wizard, um, but there are trends that are saying this. Passing touchdowns are down, passing yards are down, completion percentage is down. There's just a bunch of stuff down. And what's weird about my videos anyways is I kind of accidentally figured that out. I would say perhaps earlier than I'm on YouTube. I'm seeing a bunch of videos now about how bad quarterback play is now. And I want to asterisk that with it may be not that it's bad, but on paper it is worse, I should say. And I think I made my QB star power drought video before I saw any videos about that. It's older than some of the new ones you're seeing pop up, especially after week 2. Um, and I didn't look at the stats, which I feel dumb, but I didn't look at per season stats. I picked the year 2020, and I said 2020 seemed like quarterback play was a lot better. I called it star power. People in the comments didn't really like that. Fair enough, I understand why. And then my other video was do not tank. Tanking doesn't work. Rookie quarterbacks with so much pressure don't really work out too much. And I want to, kind of revisit these ideas because I think they're even more relevant now in the NFL in 2024. So this all is season by season stat, and people have already looked at it. And the most passing yards, so every single quarterback on average, what does a normal game look like for them? And on average, the most passing yards in a single game from a quarterback is 2015, and the most passing touchdowns is 2018 and 2020. By the way, 2020 is the season I mentioned without looking at the stats. I was purely going off of vibes, which is not great, whatever you want to call this, science, pseudoscience, sports science. But I was purely going off vibes, and so I'm pretty proud of myself for picking a pretty solid year for one of the better years of quarterback play. But I'm not here to pat myself on the back. There are some issues with that video, but anyways, um, I want to revisit these ideas because if you look at 2024, the stats are down in a lot. The quarterback play, it's been on the rise. Obviously, we always think forever, right? Like since the 1950s or whatever, quarterback play was bad, and it's always getting better. And that's basically true up until a point, and we kind of reached a breaking point, and now quarterback play is down. And what I just said, by the way, is very much a simplification. Typically, it's the defense gets better, then the offense gets better, then the defense gets better. But typically, in our heads, we just always think quarterback play is getting better, and I think it's not. And the stats are down a lot. Look at the 2024 stats: 193 passing yards in a game on average, and this is from week 2. So once again, week 3 could throw all this stuff off. I don't know how bad. That's worse than the 90s. So we're decades behind right now this season, and of course it's just 2 weeks sample size. It's gonna get better, but there are so many stats out there that are saying how historically bad the quarterback play is, at least to start this season. And it's something really weird. And the trend is going down, right? Like, look at 2023. That's a complete season. 2023, 2022. That's down from 2021. That's down from 2020. So it's going down. And it's just something weird that I didn't look at the stats on my last video, but I just, it's something weird I want to explore, and people are going to look at the stats. So the stats are there if you don't believe me. It is a thing. Quarterback play on paper is getting worse. And now talking about my other video with tanking, right? These five quarterbacks, I'm pretty sure there are actually six quarterbacks drafted in the first round, but these five quarterbacks were super, super highly ranked. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix are the only ones who actually are playing this season. The one who's not on here is Drake May. I figured it out. The Patriots, but six quarterbacks drafted in the first round. That's crazy. I think it was like this six quarterbacks drafted in the first 12 picks. There wasn't a defensive player picked until pick 16. So teams are like, we need to draft quarterbacks in the first round. I don't think the sixth best quarterback deserves to be a first round pick, right? Unless we're in some crazy timeline where this draft class was so good, but the numbers say that this draft class was not super good. Once again, super mad I got sick because this is now outdated. But I'm just gonna read you the headline. Rookie QB set record with 0 touchdown passes on 196 combined attempts. Um, in April, the NFL saw six quarterbacks drafted in the first 12 picks of the 2024 selection process. Through 2 weeks, the group, which included 3 week 1 starters, has yet to toss a touchdown pass. You know, that's historically bad. That's historically alarmingly bad. Um, Caleb Williams, for example, he replaced Justin Fields, who was also a first round QB who didn't even get to play out his full 4 year contract. Um, he week 3 he did pass 2 touchdowns, but he also passed 2 interceptions. So I don't know if you would call that a good or a complete game. Um, but he was the number 1 overall pick. That's an issue. The number 1 overall pick is historically playing bad. And it's only 3 weeks now, but that's an issue. And it's not just him though, so I don't want to just blame him. Jaden Daniels, he threw I want to say 2 touchdowns in week 3, but he hasn't thrown 2 touchdowns. He hasn't thrown a touchdown in the first 2 weeks. He once again week 3 kind of breaks this, but it is still okay. 1 out of 3 games is good. And then Bo Nix as well. He is supposedly the most NFL ready quarterback because he played so many years in college due to all the new rules that college football has. And he was put with, you can't call Sean Payton an unproven coach. So he has a proven coach at least. He has all this experience. It's not like, oh, he's gaining experience. He's the most experienced college football quarterback ever, I think. I think that's an actual stat. And he still, after 3 weeks, hasn't thrown a single touchdown pass. So, something's going weird with these rookie quarterbacks. And I kind of talked about that in my video before they were even drafted. I said, do not tank. Don't tank for Caleb Williams. Don't tank for Jaden Daniels. The teams didn't listen. And, it's only 3 games, but that's not working out. And the other rookies drafted as well, they haven't even gotten to play yet. So it's just weird. Like, something is really weird going on, and this is just the rookies, and it's not just them as well. Bryce Young, I think he's in his second year. He's been benched. Like, he was a number 1 overall pick, and he's been benched. Old Andy Dalton is going to replace him. And you could say I'm talking about these rookies. They've only had 3 games, and some of them haven't even played yet. He's had a full season, and they just benched him. Like, the NFL is treating these quarterbacks super weirdly. Is it because the play is bad? That's what the stats say. The stats say the play is really down, and it's just really weird that these rookie young quarterbacks, all this hype. I warned about this hype in my other video of the Do Not Tank video. All this hype for all these rookie quarterbacks, and they just, he was the number 1 overall pick last year. He got benched. Who's to say Caleb Williams, he has not had a single good game yet. I don't think he's thrown touchdown passes now, but 2 interceptions and 2 touchdowns is not a good stat line. He hasn't had a good game. So who's to say Caleb Williams, who's this generational talent supposedly, isn't going to end up like him? I'm not saying he's, and just to be clear, I'm not saying Bryce Young is bad either or Caleb Williams is bad. I'm going to get into why I think these quarterbacks are not playing well, but in the NFL might view him as bad. I suppose I'm saying within a year. It's just really bizarre. And as a Jet fan, I of course know how bizarre, uh, highly anticipated rookie quarterbacks are, and I think it's, once again, I'm just exploring the QB landscape of 2024. So I apologize if I'm just rambling and stuff, but Geno Smith, he was a Jet drafted quarterback. I actually have a theory where the New York Jets shouldn't start rookie quarterbacks, but that's neither here nor there. Um, but and I have actual reasons, not just fan bias, but whatever. Geno Smith, he was a Jet pick of years ago. He was considered a bust. Same thing. Bryce Young was also considered a bust. Interesting. Um, or Bryce Young is considered a bust. Geno Smith was considered a bust, thrown out, back up for a bunch of teams. Now he's a solid starter. Sam Darnold, he was considered a bust. There's the Adam Gase whole variable, but he was considered a bust, and the Jets got rid of him. He was a really young draft pick when they picked him, considered a bust, and now he's on paper the best quarterback in 2024 right now. Um, look at the stats. It's only 3 weeks, but he is the best quarterback in the NFL right now. And he was considered a super high draft pick. The Jets traded up to get him, and he was played bad in New York. I can't even say that. That's what's weird about the quarterbacks. This thesis, if there is a thesis in this video, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying they're playing bad, and that's what's really bizarre. And then I of course thrown Zach Wilson in here because he was terrible on the Jets. The Jets hated him. The owner hated him. Everyone wanted him gone. Super high draft pick. The Jets drafted, and then he had a really really good preseason, and teams are like talking about him. Quarterback needed teams are like, maybe we send over like a fifth round pick, kind of like they did with Malik Willis. The Packers did, and he's playing really well too. He was considered a bust. Send over like a sixth round draft pick, see if we can get Zach Wilson, and maybe he can save our team because anything the Jets touch sucks for them, but works for everyone else. Um, so as a Jet fan, I know that the quarterback landscape is really bizarre, especially in the year 2024. And so this is kind of like the thesis, I don't know, claims of the video, I suppose. Why is quarterback play weird now? And the obvious answer is the defense has caught up. That's always the answer, and you're not incorrect if you say that. But that's always been the answer anytime the defense catches up. But if you looked at the year by year stats that I showed at the beginning of this video, something is weird about this time. So like we are decades behind in this year anyways about the quarterback play. And so something's weird this time. And I think there's a bunch of factors, but I narrowed it down to two and then split those two factors up into like smaller factors. So forgive my scattered brain. Um, it's not even brain fog as I made this slideshow before I got sick, but perhaps my rambling is brain fog as I am still a little sick explaining my slideshow. But anyways, the first factor, 1A, is kind of only Mahomes, right? uh, where Patrick Mahomes has thrown off the way we see quarterbacks, right? Think about the NFL before Patrick Mahomes. It wasn't that long ago. The best quarterbacks were probably Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and then Aaron Rodgers, who doesn't fit my thesis, but those are all pure pocket, and Peyton Manning, of course, but he kind of retired a little bit. Like there's a gap between him and Patrick Mahomes. But anyways, those quarterbacks, especially relative to Patrick Mahomes, are pocket passers. They they are super intelligent, and I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes isn't any of this. That's what makes him so good. He's super athletic, and he's all this as well. He's a great pocket passer. But there's a difference between the way Tom Brady played, and I don't like Tom Brady, but there's a difference between the way Tom Brady and Peyton Manning played and a way Patrick Mahomes can play. Like, look at this. This is a cross-body pass. Patrick Mahomes does this all the time. They teach you not to do that in like middle school quarterback play. But Patrick Mahomes makes it work, and he makes it look really, really flashy and really, really good. He does the impossible. We hate the phrase only Mahomes, but it like is unique in that where he breaks all the rules and he gets away with it because of his talent. Um, and so I think that he has kind of thrown off the way we view quarterbacks, where we expect everyone to be Patrick Mahomes, right? That's why if you look at who's getting drafted in the first round, super high, it's not Bo Nix, who's the most uh, experienced college football quarterback who has the highest completion percentage. It's Caleb Williams, the guy who can throw the ball the farthest, the guy who can make the off-platform throws, as they call it. You don't want to be making off-platform throws. But anyways, and as a Jet fan, I know Zach Wilson's here. If Patrick Mahomes didn't succeed, Zach Wilson would not have been drafted, period, maybe, or at best he would not have been drafted as highly as he was drafted, right? There was the famous story. I don't know if everyone knows it. The Jet fans probably know it. That Zach Wilson had a really, really good pro day where he was making crazy throws, very much like Patrick Mahomes, and the Jets thought they were going to get Patrick Mahomes. And then I also throw Will Levis in there, who once again Jet fans know this. He also does a bunch of crazy stuff. So both these quarterbacks try to do crazy stuff. They can't get away with it. Only Mahomes can get away with it. That's, of course, isn't exactly true, but you get my point. And so my larger point here is NFL scouts are seeing these cross body throws, these off platform throws, and they're like, all right, that Patrick Mahomes has made that work in an NFL setting. So I can draft a super young quarterback who makes bad decisions, who throws the ball incorrectly, but it worked. Patrick Mahomes does all that, and he's the best quarterback in the NFL now, if not ever. Um, and so I think that like 1A on the only Mahomes effect is kind of messing up how we perceive quarterbacks, what we expect them to do. We don't expect them to sit in the pocket and throw the ball like like it used to be. We expect them all to be able to do what Patrick Mahomes can do, but not everyone can do what Patrick Mahomes can do. And then 1B, rushing quarterbacks, right? I kind of threw this with the only Mahomes thing. He's a very much of a scrambly quarterback, but it's, of course, not only him, and it's most obviously Lamar Jackson, who's the best rushing quarterback. Where in the NFL today, there isn't just, oh, it's just like, Michael Vick, it's just one dude. There are a bunch of rushing quarterbacks in the NFL, um, and we think that works because Lamar Jackson, rather, is a two-time MVP. Except for he hasn't won a Super Bowl. He hasn't made a deep playoff run or consistently. So does rushing work? NFL scouts see Lamar Jackson with his two MVPs and they say it does work. Um, and here are two examples as well. And the other thing I want to be clear with the only Mahomes stuff and also the rushing quarterback stuff is that affects the college game. Patrick Mahomes does all the crazy stuff he does in the NFL. Kids growing up, and I'm saying kids, you know, they're not, 12, but they're like teenagers. They're growing up. They're seeing the Patrick Mahomes stuff, and then they do that in the college game, which then throws off scouting because the college game is being, I don't want to say infected as a bad word, because once again, Patrick Mahomes is, I think, the best quarterback ever, in my opinion. But they're seeing all the stuff Patrick Mahomes can do, and then they start doing it. And sure, they can do it against college level talent, and they can, if they make a mistake, then they can fix that mistake through their talent alone. But you can't keep on fixing mistakes with talent in the NFL level. And I think that's kind of going back to the only Mahomes thing, but it's also rushing quarterbacks, right? I think rushing works a lot better in college for a few reasons. One, you only play college for, well, supposedly max of 4 or 5 years. And, in the NFL, if you're a 4 or 5 year quarterback, that's that's nothing. Um, and then two, it's the people tackling you are smaller, so they're not going to hurt you as much. Um, but right, Lamar Jackson has won two MVPs. People are going to start mimicking him, and they're going to start mimicking him in the college game. And it might work in college. Scouts see, oh, these are the best quarterbacks: Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields. These are super good runners, and then they draft him highly. And then rushing doesn't work in the NFL. If you want to count Russell Wilson as a scrambling quarterback, I don't know. And his teams didn't win the Super Bowl because of him. But has there ever been a rushing quarterback to win a Super Bowl? I don't know, but you look at all these quarterbacks getting drafted super highly. Jaden Daniels, prime example. He was the number 2 overall pick. They're drafting Russian quarterbacks really highly to save the franchise, to win the franchise Super Bowls, and it hasn't even worked in the NFL. Say what you will about the only Mahomes effect. He's won 3 Super Bowls. So clearly, you find a Patrick Mahomes, you can win a Super Bowl. You find a really good Russian quarterback, Lamar Jackson. He hasn't won a Super Bowl yet. So they're looking for the next Patrick Mahomes. They're allowing for the possibility that Russian quarterbacks can win Super Bowls when that hasn't happened yet. And so I think those two issues are kind of like combined into one. The way the quarterback plays, especially in the college game, is a really big issue because it's super hard to find Patrick Mahomes. And then if you're also looking for Russian quarterbacks, it's super hard to win a Super Bowl with a Russian quarterback because it's arguably never happened. But that's the first point. Those two, 1A, 1B, and then 2A, 2B, 2A. These are kind of like the expectations we put on them. And the first one is the savior expectation. And I of course have a picture of Joe Burrow here because I don't think about the Bengals before Joe Burrow. They were the laughing stock, right? It was the Browns and Bengals and Jets and Lions as well. But the Bengals were there. They were, part of that squad of laughing stock teams, really. Um, do we think about the Bengals like that at all anymore? I don't think so. And it's because they drafted Joe Burrow, number 1 overall pick, and he saved them. And I'm not saying, oh, Joe Burrow invented the number 1 overall pick savior thing. Teams have tanked before and wanted the number 1 overall pick badly before. But the pressure we put on these rookie quarterbacks, the most complex position in all of sports, arguably, we expect basically kids to be able to figure that out and then play well in a professional setting where everyone is bigger now. It's really bizarre, but we put so much pressure, and then what happens if they fall short? And not even fall short over 5 years, over 6 years. We're talking about falling short over 1 or 2 years. So you don't even get your full rookie season to figure stuff out. And that's what I was talking about the rookie quarterbacks this year in 2024. I'm making fun of them. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Bo Nix. I'm not actually making fun of them. I think the NFL is, right? That article I was reading off of is an NFL published article, maybe an ESPN, but the larger media is because we're not giving these quarterbacks time to uh, get ready because of people like Joe Burrow who changed the entire outlook of like the way we perceive an entire franchise. And like I just said, the examples I give here are Caleb Williams and Bryce Young. No, um, I'm completely blanking on the Panthers quarterback's name. Uh, I forgive me. It's earlier in the video. Oh, Bryce Young. Okay, I was right. Sorry about that. But Caleb Williams and Bryce Young, 2 number 1 overall picks. Bryce Young has been benched after not even 2 full years. Like that's crazy. And you go way back because one of the stats I know, Peyton Manning has the most interceptions thrown by a rookie quarterback. They didn't like completely remove him and replace him for Andy Dalton. uh, they let him play. They let him learn. And same thing with Caleb Williams. The stats I was reading, he hasn't thrown a single passing touchdown. He has now week 3. Thank you. But he hasn't had a single good game. I could say that still after week 3, he threw 2 interceptions in the game that he threw 2 touchdowns in. It's so, but we're putting these in, but people are already calling him a bust. Bryce Young has been labeled a bust. He's gone. Caleb Williams is already being called a bust. Does he get 2 years? Bryce Young didn't get 2 years. Does he get a year and a half? Does he get a year? It's bizarre. And I think it's because there's so much pressure. The Bears have been bad. They haven't won a Super Bowl yet. That's all, haha. And they've been bad recently. And the same thing can be applied to Justin Fields. He was supposed to be the savior of the franchise. He hasn't done anything. And so we're clinging on these like 20-something-year-old kids to save the franchise when very few can. Joe Burrow arguably did. He changed the outlook of the franchise, I'd say. Once again, never won a Super Bowl, so we'll see. But it's just a lot of pressure on these quarterbacks. And then lastly, the amount of money these quarterbacks are getting paid. I understand that the cap is continually going up, but the quarterback is taking up way, like percentage wise, more and more of the cap. Um, and Dak Prescott, I don't know how many of you guys know this. Dak Prescott is the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, I think, currently. That's crazy. Like, and it's not. I'm not saying, oh, he doesn't deserve it. That's not what I'm saying. It's billionaires giving millionaires dollars. I don't care how much he gets paid, but this is a cap based league. So if he's getting paid, that means someone else isn't on the team. That means that they have to let people go. Um, and I think that's the issue because for as much as I in the media loves to talk about quarterbacks, this is a team-based game. So if you're paying the quarterback a bunch, perhaps you have to remove the weapons. Think about Patrick Mahomes, who isn't the highest paid quarterback, which is weird. We're losing Tyreek Hill. He, of course, was able to deal with it, but can Dak lose his top tier talent? You know, his offense, as a Jets fan, I know we just profited off of the fact that they had to cut some of their offensive linemen. Um, so like if you're paying these quarterbacks a bunch, which uh uh Jordan Love and Trevor Lawrence are the two other, or like 2 and 3 by the way, which once again super bizarre to me. They don't like, not that they don't deserve to get paid what they're getting paid. They don't deserve to be the highest, second highest, and third highest paid quarterbacks. But whatever. So that's what I'm saying though. These three guys are the three highest paid quarterbacks. Who are they going to throw to? Like, if you're a team, you have to either they have to be really good on a rookie contract, or I don't know, take a team friendly deal or something. But they're losing talent to throw to. They're losing talent to protect them in the pocket. They're losing talent to hand the ball off to. That's the biggest one. Running backs are getting paid nothing. Um, and so it's just really bizarre. Um, so these quarterbacks are playing worse, getting paid more than ever, and it's not about the money. It's about the cap. That's the issue I'm talking about. I don't care how much they get paid. I want to clarify that and specify that. But these quarterbacks playing worse than they have in decades, getting paid more, which I think is correlated as well. Like it's the fact that they're getting paid more is a reason that on paper they're playing worse. Because I actually do think that every quarterback in the NFL, of course, is super talented, but relatively speaking, as in a historical sense, I think they're also talented. But they have no one to throw to. They have too much pressure. We expect them every year. We expect passing yards to go up, passing touchdowns to go up, and we expect like young people, like 20 in their early 20s, to be able to do that as well. We expect them to be Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson and not get injured. Like like that's crazy, right? Like think about it when these two are in the league. Like I said, Peyton Manning threw the most amount of interceptions in the NFL as a rookie, rather. Like he threw the most amount of interceptions for a rookie. Um, Tom Brady, 6th round pick, replaced a good but not great Drew Bledsoe, and there wasn't a lot of pressure on him. The NFL, when these guys entered the league versus when, poor Bryce Young or Caleb Williams has to enter the league, is completely different. If you're a number one overall pick, now you are expected to be a Patrick Mahomes that do the things Patrick Mahomes can do, or do the things Lamar Jackson can do, or change the outlook of a terrible team. Because if you're the number one overall pick, your team sucks. Change the outlook of a terrible team, and then have less people to 30 because you're getting paid so much once you get your contract. If you even get there, you get benched after 2 years. Like that's crazy. Like think about it with Peyton Manning. He threw a bunch of interceptions his rookie year. Do you think he would have, like I honestly wonder. I don't think he would have gotten a chance in today's NFL. Um he I don't. First off, I don't think he's been a number one overall pick because he's not flashy like Patrick Mahomes. But I don't think he would have. So without you know he wouldn't have. He would have had so much pressure being the number one overall pick. He can't do the things Patrick Mahomes can do. He can't run around, and he throws that many interceptions. I think he's getting benched. I do. and and it's just it's I don't know. I'm rambling a lot in this video. Um and perhaps someone smarter than me can take the ideas and expand them in the comments if you want to, or we'll see if there's another video that comes out that's because it's just weird, I guess, is the whole point. That's the thesis, I guess, actually. Quarterback play in the NFL is really weird, and we need to, look at it harder. As fans, scouts need to figure out what they're doing. GMs need to figure out what they're doing. Um, it's just really bizarre, and I think that we need to, as a sports community, figure out what's going on. Because I guess the point of this video is one, something's going on. Two, here are some ideas that a rambling person is just saying, and three, actually figure out what's going on because I don't know what I'm talking about. But I know how to point out problems, I suppose, is what I'm saying. But I don't know. Forgive me for this rambly video. It obviously wasn't scripted. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Bye.